And we are back for another division preview. As you guys have seen on the channel, we've been previewing every single division in the NFL. Today, we got some questions to answer about the NFC North. Is Aaron Rodgers that bad man without his wide receivers? Do the Bears and Lions even have a chance in this division? And are the Vikings going to take a next step when it comes to the offense, which scares me because I feel like the offense has been good. We're going to find that all out with the M and the J and the As I was saying, the M is here, the J is here, the T is here. Joe, Tony, excited to talk about the NFC North. Anyone got some hot takes brewing?
I don't know how hot they are, but I definitely got takes.
Joe?
I just have the hots. That's it.
Joe, you're just hot.
I'm excited about this division because this could be one of those divisions that we see a lot of turnaround, and you'll see how I get there. But maybe I do have some hot takes for you.
I want to see who is buying in on the preseason Hard Knocks hype. Like which one of you in your prediction is going to be lining up ACLs and having dinner with Dan Campbell? That's what I want to see.
What do you say? You can have 3 fingers and 1 butt cheek, and we're still gonna beat you up.
Yep,
that's exactly what he said, along with a bunch of other crazy shit. It wasn't the only thing.
We're taking him out to the deep, and we're gonna drown him. I'm like, okay. How many ways are you going to talk about domestic violence and murder in your metaphors? Like, do you have one where it's just like, we're going to chop down a tree? Like, could you just make a metaphor that doesn't involve excruciating death at all?
Some of the veterans on that team are probably like, this is the most stupid thing I've ever heard in my life.
They must have nightmares. Just going to bed being like, my coach wants me to kill people.
But let me tell you, this has been one of the best Hard Knocks in a long time. I'm just going to say that because I was getting bored of some of the last couple Hard Knocks. This has to be one of the best entertaining ones. So it's good for the NFL to do that before the Hard Knocks.
And it's purely and solely because of Dan Campbell. What do they call him on the Pat McAfee show? Motor City Dan Campbell?
Well, I like Aaron Glenn and Deuce Staley going at it too.
MCDC.
Yeah, I thought they've all been great. Kelvin Shepard, the linebackers coach, has been good. And I mean, when he was sitting in there talking about like, don't make me play this rookie. And I was just like, okay, don't take offense to this, kid. But you were a 6th round pick and we got some bums sitting behind you. I would have had a smirk on my face. There's no way I could have kept my shit together when coach was saying that. I'd have been like, I'm busting all you.
The little bit that I know about the linebacker position, that rookie's probably actually pushing for a freaking spot. He actually is. Like, he is balling out.
So here's the thing with Malcolm Rodriguez. In the pre-draft process, a lot of people really liked him because he's fast and he's aggressive, but he's small. And so that's why he kind of got overlooked. He didn't have the metrics, kind of that Nakobe Dean second level.
Yeah.
He's a beast.
He's a beast. All right, we're going to talk about the Lions. We're going to go through for this entire division. We're going to guarantee one thing that each of us think is going to go right for a team in the division, one thing that we think is going to go terribly wrong for each team, for a team in this division, and our breakout player for the division. At the end of the show, we're going to give our record predictions, our record picks for every team in the NFC North. I can't wait because I feel like this division is kind of going through a little bit of a transition period, so we'll see how it goes. But let's start off with our guarantee good things to happen for a specific team. We'll go around the horn. This way. Tony, what are you thinking for the NFC North?
My guaranteed good thing for this division is that the Minnesota Vikings will 100% be glad that they made a coaching change, right? Like one way or the other, the vibe is going to be better, whether they win games or lose games. And I'll get to my prediction about it later. But I just think the overall energy of the Minnesota Vikings can get back more to where it was with Culpepper and Moss and Carter and that offense, like freed up. Because Mike Zimmer, while he is a very good coach of football, the Vikings just seemed boring for the last couple of years, and they were winning. And I think that at some point, with all of this young, explosive talent, you need a guy like Kevin O'Connell. I always mess up his name. It's O'Connell, right? Kevin O'Connell to come in and light a fire. So the thing that I guarantee is that the Vikings are going to be fun and exciting to watch this year.
Yeah, it got really tough there down the stretch in the Mike Zimmer years where it's like we have a defensive-minded coach, a guy that's supposed to be like a top-level defensive-minded head coach, and the defense stinks. That's tough. That's tough to overcome. And I forgot to mention it before we started the segment. Guys, drop your good, your bad, and your breakout player in the comments. Also, your record predictions, which, like I said, we're going to give at the end of the episode. Joe, great thing that's going to happen in this division for a specific team. Are you on the Lions? Are you on the Bears at all?
I'm not on the Lions. Well, I'm not on the Bears either, by far stretch. I was going to go with the Minnesota Vikings, and I was going to be like, because they're going to be exciting. There's a lot to look into it, but Tony stole my thunder on that. But the Minnesota Vikings are looking good, right? We have to be – I think the good is that Justin Jefferson not only goes from being an elite wide receiver, he goes to being the best wide receiver in the NFL this year in this division. He tears it up. He's going to be very unstoppable. I'm very excited to see what Justin Jefferson does with this new head coach and this new offense, because everything I'm hearing about him and what I hear from his mouth has been absolutely outstanding. And the way that he's saying that he's taking the Cooper Kupp role and he's understanding, he's watching the film on Cooper Kupp, and now he's understanding why Cooper Kupp was wide open, even though everybody in the building knows where they're throwing the damn ball. Everybody knows the ball is going to Justin Jefferson, but he's going to still put up all these numbers and have a hell of a season. Justin Jefferson, by the end of this year, will be known as the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Which will be great for the Vikings. I'll tell you what, this guy takes another step forward. I mean, now we're talking Hall of Fame status level player right there. Justin Jefferson is a phenomenal talent, and I will beg the argument that when it comes to like a more all-around great wide receiver, put together his entire game, and you compare it to Cooper Kupp's, Justin Jefferson could probably do more. He just needs the scheme that Kupp had.
I agree.
So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, my guarantee good was also staying in Minnesota. I have it jotted down here that Dalvin Cook, Kirk Cousins, and Justin Jefferson all have career years. I was going to take Dalvin Cook off there because I am scared of his injuries for fantasy football, but I'm throwing him in there also. If the whole offense is going up, he's going to go up with them. I'm saying Dalvin Cook, Kirk Cousins, Justin Jefferson, career years, however you define that. Because Justin Jefferson's had an unbelievable start to his career already. Kirk Cousins obviously performs every single season, puts up numbers every single season, and same with Dalvin Cook. I think that offense takes that next step, and even if that defense does not improve very much, they're going to carry a lot more than they have in previous years offensively, and they feel like they've been dragging an anchor with the defensive injuries. Losing Danielle Hunter like every season has killed the Vikings defense, and now they're going to be healthy to start the year, but even if things go wrong again, this offense is going to be insane. I got that offense for the Vikings being my guaranteed good. All right, let's go to guaranteed bad. Unanimous on the Vikings. Let's see if we're unanimous on the bad. Tony Tucker, go ahead.
I thought you were going to Freudian slip into unanimous on the Bears. I guarantee, and this isn't necessarily a bad thing, I guess. It is a guaranteed bad thing in the fact that the Chicago Bears are going to be the number 1 overall pick next year. So that is a good thing heading into the draft, but it is a bad long season that the Bears will be. And I've kind of tipped my record prediction there, but the Bears will be competing for the number 1 pick in the 2023 NFL draft.
Tony giving away spoilers already on his predictions, but it's all right because I'm going to stick right there with you with the Chicago Bears as the ugliest thing in this division is going to be that offensive line. They're not going to block anybody. I'll block more sitting in my chair being a fat guy, blocking more going into my mouth on Sundays than that team will for Justin Fields because, I don't know, they didn't do anything to help Justin Fields this week or this offseason, and they're just expecting him to come out and be some great quarterback. They didn't even get him weapons. He's going to run like crazy. I'll take Justin Fields in fantasy because I know he's going to be running for his life, but how long is he going to run for? And that's the bad thing. I know this is a young team, but that offensive line is garbage, Tony. Garbage.
Agree.
Yeah. My note I have jotted down: the Bears will be selected number 1 overall as well. So I'm in agreement here. Unanimous on the good, unanimous on the bad, and I'll just add a little bit more to the sentiment that both of you gentlemen are saying that offense is going to be terrible. They didn't bring any weapons, just like Joe said. Offensive line is awful. You got a quarterback that's going to be running for his life all year in Justin Fields, and hopefully he can learn something through that. I don't know what you can learn from just getting hit over and over again. Maybe just overcoming trials and tribulations in a football game. But also the defense kind of got stripped a little bit this offseason as well. The Bears have always been a terrible offense with just a crazy defense that's been able to put it together and get them in the wild card picture every year somehow with guys like Mitch Trubisky and Andy Dalton and stuff. That's not going to be the case this year. They lose Khalil Mack. They lose Akeem Hicks. Robert Quinn demanded a trade, but I think he's going to stay, but he still isn't really that happy. He's a guy I don't think is going to want to go out there and lay it all on the line this year. And Roquan Smith is now holding out. I mean, the defense is also falling apart. They got a young, promising corner in Jalen Johnson, but that's about it as far as when you look at the future of the Bears defense right now, minus Roquan Smith, minus Robert Quinn potentially, and minus Khalil Mack and Akeem Hicks, who's been a staple. So I think the defense is going to be bad. The offense is going to be bad. And usually that leads to you getting to pick either an elite left tackle first overall next year, maybe another elite edge rusher, one of those impact positions that can really help transform this team and get this team back on the right track for their quarterback, Justin Fields. Right now, I don't even know if you can put too much judgment on whether or not Justin Fields is the guy just because of how bad the team is around him. That's something that they did really good in New York around Zach Wilson and in Jacksonville around Trevor Lawrence. At least they give him something to where you can evaluate them.
Yeah. I was just going to say Robert Quinn, healthy, is traded at the deadline. Like, let's go get some picks, and somebody you always need pass rushers. One of the teams will give up some draft capital, and Robert Quinn will be moved at the deadline.
And not to knock on Bears fans if you guys are watching, not to knock on you guys. Look, I like the Bears, right? I always have my flag somewhere, but not today, not when I need it. Not to knock on the Bears. I think they're going to be more competitive than they have been the last couple of years. They just don't have the talent there. It's going to take a while to rebuild and go away from what Matt Nagy and that organization had the last couple of years. So I think they're going to be more competitive and they're going to have more fire. And I think Eberflus is going to do a great job of keeping them in games, but they just don't have it this year.
Well, at least they had the bravery to rip that Band-Aid off because this has been needed to happen. A full reset has been needed since Mitchell Trubisky. So at least they've had the balls this year to go, you know what? We're tired of just being an average team that occasionally will surprise you, but for the most part loses. And by the way, Joe, yeah, I was going to say, you on a previous episode, I'm pretty sure you were calling that toilet paper or something. So I don't know how much you're on the Bears fan side. Anyways,
I'm a Justin Fields guy. You know that.
Oh, yeah. Justin Fields guy. Let's move on to our breakout player, Tony Tucker. Who you got breaking out in this division? Number one.
So I want to go last so that we guaranteed to have a different one because I have three choices for this one. So who wants to go first?
Joe.
I'll go first, and I'm going to go stay with the Minnesota Vikings because I'm already on that Minnesota Viking choo-choo train. Might as well stay with them, right? I'm going to go with tight end Irv Smith. He got hurt last year. He's coming back. He's going to be that middle guy that people are going to forget because they got Justin Jefferson, one of the best wide receivers, who already said is going to be the best wide receiver at the end of this year. Then you got Adam Thielen. You got a couple other wide receivers there with Osborne and stuff, and they're going to forget about Irv Smith. And I think everybody's already forgot about how good he is. But once he takes the field and he's there, he's going to be a great red zone target. Irv Smith going to be in that tight end target. And everybody who plays fantasy football going to be looking for him on the waiver wire.
Yeah, I have Alan Lazard's name marked down here. That's what I was going to say up until this morning. But I watched some tape, watched the preseason game last week. I'm going with Aiden Hutchinson. I've seen enough, I think, on tape to see what I need to see. He went against the starting Falcons O-line for most of the game last week and was getting pressure on the quarterback. Didn't get that sack, getting pressure on the quarterback, impacting the run defense game. That's what impresses me most. A lot of times rookies get in the game, or any pass rusher gets in the game, they're so eager to rush the passer that they let those little handoffs get right underneath them, turn into big gains for the running backs. But Hutchinson was impacting the run game on run defense. He was impacting the pass game, getting some QB pressures in. I think he's going to have a fine rookie year. So I'm going to go with my final answer as Aiden Hutchinson with a shout-out to Alan Lazard. Go ahead, Tommy.
Excellent. I want to give an honorable mention first to A.J. Dillon. I'm going to get a piece of paper and a pen. It's going on the prediction board. A.J. Dillon rushes for 1,000 yards this year for the Green Bay.
Don't draft A.J.
We're all talking about it. So AJ Dillon, 1,000 yards rushing this year. But the player that I want to highlight, we beat up on the Bears pretty bad in the last segment. This one, Cole Kmet at tight end. They are desperate for receiving targets. He's big. He's athletic. I think Justin Fields feels comfortable throwing to him. I've already seen him making a couple nice plays in the preseason. And you guys know, I was Cole Kmet bandwagon last year. And this year, I think that the connection takes another step. And Cole Kmet is a player we're talking about entering a top 10 tight end conversation next offseason.
This topic is interesting because I feel like every team in the division is kind of like looking around like we all need a couple players to break out to really take us to a point where we could potentially win the division. The Packers need help in the passing offense, whether it's a Rob Tonyan or a wide receiver of some sort. The Bears need help all around. The Lions kind of need help all around, and the Vikings need help on defense in the secondary. So it's kind of like, which team is going to get the biggest impact from those unexpected players?
Yeah, the guy they drafted, the Georgia kid, Sean Lewis. Was it Sean Lewis they took?
They say he's doing good.
There we go. If he can make a step, that would really help the defense. Yeah, there's players on all these teams. Deuce Staley said it best in Hard Knocks. He thinks that DeAndre Swift can be a top-notch running back in the NFL. And if that's the case, the Lions will exceed my prediction for them this year.
Yeah, all this talk about Deuce Staley and DeAndre Swift getting together and working well together has got me getting more invested in DeAndre Swift a little bit. Just a little bit.
Yeah, he's already the end of the first round in fantasy, and I think that could continue to rise.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. And before we get to our predictions, Green Bay has owned this division the last couple of years, right? And all they did was lose Devontae Adams. And are we thinking that now everybody has a chance, or is it just because the Lions have been growing and getting better? Vikings had a great offseason. Is that why we're thinking that this division has just got better as a whole, except for the Bears?
Well,
Joe,
go ahead, Tony. Go ahead.
I was just going to say my good guarantee was going to be, I went with the Vikings, but my other good guarantee was going to be Green Bay as a top 3 defense this year.
Yeah, I was going to say that it's not necessarily that I think the Packers are completely falling off. I think that this is going to be a much tighter division simply because they were so talented with Devontae Adams, and their offense was so good paired with their great defense. Their defense wasn't even healthy last year, and they were still great. That they weren't one of the best teams in the division. They were one of the best teams in the entire NFL. Like, to get up to their level, like say the Vikings, they would have needed a top 10 defense to come out with that offense last year. So they're just been waiting for maybe a break in the Packers having such dominant rosters more than anything. And now that Devontae Adams is gone, that superhuman passing strength is no longer there. This team's always had an elite O-line with an elite running game paired with Aaron Rodgers to Devontae Adams out wide. How do you stop that? You can't. Now you actually have a point of attack that you can attack the Packers. So they're just an opportunity has opened up for the other teams in this division to kind of like go at the Packers a little bit more than previous years.
You ready to get these predictions going?
Let's do it.
I'm ready. You
Let's
guys ready for these?
Yep.
And there it is. Oh, we got some disagreements here. We got some wide disagreements here in a couple of teams. Oh, man. So drop your guys' predictions in the comment section right now, real quick. Take a look at ours. Let us know which one you like the most, who you closest to. I'll start this off by going to Joe. 13
I told you guys I'm high on the Minnesota Vikings. You look at their schedule; it's a pretty easy schedule. It's not bad. I have both of these teams going 13-4, and I have the Bears going 3-4 or 3-14. Somebody has to take the losses. It's going to be the damn Bears, right? I like the Lions. I think the Lions are good. I don't know if 10-7 put them in the playoffs. I have to check when we get there on my playoffs. But I have 3 teams taking 10 wins in this division. I told you guys I don't like the NFC as a whole. The NFC is a weaker conference, and 3 teams in the NFC North have been dominant. Even the Lions schedule, like going through it, there's a couple games here and there that it can go both ways, but I think they're going to fight through it and they're going to win some games. The Vikings, I like the Packers. Like we were talking about, not losing Devontae Adams is not that big of a deal to me. I think they're making a culture change where they're going to be more of a running team and more of a defensive team. Go to the old school, play in the snow. Come up here, get your butt kicked in the snow. Let us run the ball. And like you said, I think Aaron Jones becomes that passing weapon, and A.J. Dillon becomes that running back. But I'm really high on the Vikings this year, if you guys can't tell.
Yeah, super high on the Vikings. I mean, if this is the final result, this will probably be the best or one of the best divisions in football. 13 wins for two teams and a 10-win team.
The Lions at 10-7. I want to believe it, Joe. I really do. My grandfather would tell me stories about Bobby Lane, and he's not got long left on this planet. A 10-7 season would be real nice for a 92-year-old man. I can't see it, Joe. That's a huge leap for them to take this 1 year. And the Vikings too, like 13-4. They better have very limited primetime games, or Kirk Cousins better make that next step to be an elite. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you, Tony, on the Lions. I actually think that this is slightly improved, but I actually think that maybe I'm not as big a fan of Dan Campbell's tactics as a coach on Hard Knocks as everyone else. I'm a fan of the entertainment value in it, but even if like I was on a high school team and my coach is saying crazy stuff like that, I don't necessarily get motivated by something like that. And I'm not even a professional player making millions. These guys making millions, I don't think they care about the rah, 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 rah. I think scheme matters more than the motivational speeches, honestly.
Yeah, and that's the thing where it's like, I honestly believe that if the Lions are, like Joe said, 10-7, it highlights what the coordinators are able to put together, and that makes them more attractive. More attractive candidates for head coaching jobs, right? Because you're not thinking, oh, well, that's a Dan Campbell scheme. You're going, oh, no, that's Deuce Staley putting together, coordinating the offense. That's Aaron Glenn coordinating an improved defense there. Let's bring in those guys. But yeah, I
also feel like Staley and Glenn, the way they're going at each other at practice, in the middle of practice, isn't the best thing for a team either. Like, it's fun to watch. Like I said, I'm here for the entertainment value, but I don't know if any other team in the league has their offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator yelling at each other after every single play, it seems like, versus coaching the team up after every single play.
Yeah, you have position coaches for each of that too, right? You do it. I think there was also something I saw where Deuce Staley doesn't even call the plays. He's like, there's somebody else who calls the plays. I don't know what's going on there. It is interesting. I do think there's a little bit of that stuff drummed up for entertainment purposes, right? They're trying to move some units and sell some HBO Max subscriptions. So let's have these guys really go for it. But 10-7.
Ben Johnson's the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, he's the one who calls the plays.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Staley in that episode that we saw, we're referencing, he looked like maybe he was calling the plays. So that already they're already cooking stuff for television purposes.
I think that Staley is labeled as assistant head coach also.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's higher on the food chain than the offensive coordinator, but he's not calling the plays. So it's kind of a interesting situation. On top of it all with the Lions, I don't believe in Jared Goff. Nothing's changed on my opinion on Jared Goff since the Rams days, honestly. And the defense, I like Aiden Hutchinson. I think he breaks out. I think the defense is a little bit better, but they still got some work to do in the secondary also. If they win 10 games, I'll be shocked. But
did Jared Goff not take the Rams to the Super Bowl?
Sean McVay's offense and an insane defense took them to the Super Bowl, yeah.
So a system. All you need is a good system. So if they have a good system in place in Detroit with great weapons, like they do, with a great offensive line, like they do, Jared Goff can't game management them to 10 wins?
I don't think so, no, because they don't have an elite system. I don't think that Dan Campbell's putting together an elite system. That's why I was trying to say is I don't necessarily believe in the coaching staff as much as anyone else, I don't think.
This is the highest paid offense in the NFL in Detroit.
Stop it, Joe.
It
was a Jared Goff trash contract, like one of the worst contracts in the NFL and in the NFL's history.
Look, and here's the reason I'm high on Detroit getting 10 wins, right? If you look at their schedule, not only do they play Chicago twice, right? That's 2 wins. They get to play Seattle.
I'm just gonna say I don't think that's guaranteed 2 wins.
Yeah, it is. Oh, it's guaranteed to
The
win.
Lions aren't that good.
The Bears could possibly go 0-17. That's how bad they are. You got the Jets. You got Carolina on their schedule. You got the Giants on their schedule. There's easy wins in there for them if they put it all together. And like you said, if DeAndre Swift becomes that number one back or that top back in the league, and nobody's able to stop him, this offensive line is very underrated.
It's a great offensive line.
It's a very good offensive line, but I think the things Mike is saying is the difference makers. They had those on the Rams. I don't necessarily think they have the difference makers on the Lions that put them to put Jared Goff up to where he needs to be. I'm going to do my thoughts on my predictions, and I'll do it in 45 seconds. The Packers are taking a step back this season. Not really like. I don't know how to say this because it's not fully wrapped around Devontae Adams as much as it is incorporating so many new young pieces, right? Into the defense, into the offense. And the head coach at some point has to make a little bit of has to take a step back, right? Like Matt LaFleur's been getting very lucky there. The Vikings, they're taking a step forward to 11-6. I still will not believe Kirk Cousins is that guy until he shows me that he's like that guy, that he's like, hey, he can flirt with a top 5 conversation. I give the Lions more wins. We just saw in Hard Knocks what they did at the end of the game. And I get it was David Blau. I don't care. That is how the Lions lose football games. It's been happening that way for like 65 years. And then lastly, the Bears, they did beat up on the Seahawks, who are also going to be fighting them week for week for top pick. That was the first pick bowl we watched the other day. It's not good for Chicago. I'm sorry. Not good.
Both look miserable. Yeah. You're going to like that from Kirk Cousins this season, Tony. One more thing also before we sign off. Let's all predict the Packers wide receiver 1 because we did so much Lions talk that we didn't talk about the Packers wide receiver 1. So, Tony, who do you think will be the best wide receiver in Green Bay this year?
It's going to be Allen Lazard. As much as I want it to be Romeo Doubs, don't get it twisted here, ladies and gentlemen. By the end of the year, it could be Doubs for sure. But it's Allen Lazard. He has the most continuity with Aaron Rodgers. So I'm going to ride with Allen Lazard if he can stay healthy for the year.
Yeah, Rodgers is really messing with fantasy football players. He like rolls out the red carpet for one guy and then rips it out from under him in the next press conference. But Joe, who do you think will be the best performing wide receiver in Green Bay?
Christian Watson.
Christian Watson. I'm going with Allen Lazard also. So there's your predictions, Green Bay fans. Who do you guys think it's going to be? Let us know in the comments if you're a Packers fan. Maybe
it's a toss-up.
Because Cobb is still there, who has the most chemistry, I guess, with Aaron Rodgers. And Sammy Watkins is just lurking in the shadows like he does on every team he plays on.
He'll have one big week.
All 3 of those guys that we named have health concerns for me. And Christian Watson has come in with health concerns. Romeo Doubs has been lighting it up with whoever is throwing the ball to him. It doesn't matter. And you're telling me that he's going to get Aaron Rodgers and he's going to get some playing time out there. End of the year, Romeo Doubs. I switch. Romeo Doubs.
That was a quick switch, Tony. That's like
Romeo. All right, we're moving on to the next division. We'll talk to you guys on the next episode. Here are our predictions one more time. Again, make sure you leave yours in the comments. Make sure you like this video to help us out a ton in the algorithm. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'm Mike. Joe is in the middle. Tony all the way on the end, looking very angry in his cartoon. We'll see y'all on the next division preview, which will probably be in the next couple of days. So make sure you have those notifications on.
take out kneecaps.